1, 2, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 3.
When I first get in, I look at them. We're so young and so small, and you look at guys like Jim Smiley and other guys like that, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna be like him when I grow up.
One more, come on. One more for Elise. Ready? Down. 1, 2, 3, 1.
And then when you finally do grow up, you're a lot closer to them, and you get that bond, like they say, band of brothers. They're not kidding, because you know that you can go into a fire and you definitely rely on them. They got your back.
Ready? Give me one more. Ready? Down. 1, 2, 3, 1. Everybody up. Everybody up. Everybody up. Ready? Ready? We ready to go play? Yes. You want to do calisthenics all night?
When we do training or when we do any other activity down there, we try to make it fun, because if you don't, you get burnt out. A lot of people think that firefighting is just answering the call. It's not. There's times that we'll sit at the station and just BS all for hours, and then joke around and carry on and everything. And it makes time go fast. And then you look back and you're like, wow, majority of the time you spend more time with your brother firefighters than you do your wives, your girlfriends, or even your own family. But that's where it becomes your family.
A bond forged by fire can't be broken.
It is a lifestyle. When you first joined, I was gung-ho. You're getting up Saturday mornings, come down to the station, trainings, junior meetings, just to clean the station even. Sometimes, we would sit there on weekends till about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. We'd all be hanging out. There'd be a bunch of us playing football. It became a lifestyle. It became my life.
About 18 years ago, my brother's house burned down. And I went down there when it was on fire. There was 2 houses, one his and the house next to it, adjacent to it. It got caught on fire, and I watched it. And there wasn't that many firefighters down there. And we lost both houses were totally destroyed. Man, that time on, I said I wanted to be a firefighter.
It's something that you can look back at when you get older, and you're like, it may not be much. Obviously, we don't get paid for it. So it's not like I can look at it as, look at my career. But you can look at it as, like, look what I did with my life.
7 years ago, my brother committed suicide. And it was just me and him. And I have another brother that I haven't talked to in about 8 years. He's also a firefighter. But I just kept doing it. After he passed, after he committed suicide, and I just performed, I wanted to keep going, But other than that, I just like doing it.
My lifestyle consists of spending nights missing dinner, getting up in the middle of the night, 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning to go out, sometimes on a serious call, sometimes on a bullcrap call, just to go back to the same building because they don't know how to reset their fire alarm, or you go out because somebody thinks they're having a heart attack, and all it is just, they had bad dinner and it's indigestion. But it's something you got to do. Nobody tells us we have to do it, but we get up to do it every time, and it's definitely our lifestyle.
You get a lot of friendship, a lot of friendship. Like I said, 7 years ago, my brother committed suicide. 4 months ago, my mom passed away. About 4 weeks ago, my dad lost one of his legs. And I don't have no family around this area. They're like 30, 35 miles away. But my family is the fire department. I have fellow firefighters that are actually like my real brothers. I talk to them. And there's a lot of stuff that, like I said, within the last couple of years, been hectic for me. But if it wasn't for them, and we have a junior fire program, and I'm one of the advisors for them, and if it wasn't for the juniors and my brother fireman, I don't know if I'd be able to do what I do.
I have a separate job. I work 8 to 5 for an electrical wholesale distributor, and I have a family, and I have 2 small children and a wife, and it's hard. It's hard to find time. I don't get to devote as much time to just hanging out at the fire station like I used to before I had kids. As far as I know, just my father was a fireman before me. Like I said, he was the chief of the department for a couple of years, and growing up in that type of household, it was always on the go kind of thing. When I first joined, it was more like I don't know if I have time to do this with school, and you're young, you're in your teenage years, and you want to do other things and hang out with your friends, and the only response I really got was, if you got time to sleep, you got time to help.
It was a Monday morning, and we had a call. It was probably about a little after 7. A call came in for a structure fire, Carson's Catering across from Sheets. I'm sitting there thinking I should probably definitely go, because there's a lot of guys already at work, and manpower is going to be limited. So I'm like, you got to go, because you're going to kick yourself in the butt for not going. You're going to hear the stories, and you're going to be like, oh, man. So, of course, I got up and I went.
Recently, we had a fire up here at the manor, and I did something that I always preached about not doing, and that's when I actually took my SCBA, which is self-contained breathing apparatus, off, and I gave it to a victim. You know, which I'd do it again if I had to, because the hallway was full of smoke, and she was in a wheelchair, and you know, I wanted to get her out.
When we got there, sure enough, it was very limited for guys. I got there, and Chief pointed at me, and he said, get a tank on. I got 2 guys up in the window. They're going in. I need another guy to get in there. I said, okay. Got up the ladder, got in the window, and Smiley was in there, and another guy, which is my cousin, Matt Lawfer, he was in there too. So it was kind of, at the same point, everything's going on, standing outside looking at it, fire's blowing out the window, you can see the smoke, you hear the other trucks coming down the street, sirens screaming, and you're like, whoa, this is everything we trained for. This is game time.
After the fact, you sit back and you listen, and you think, you're like, all right, should I have done that? Or what would I have done different? But in this type of work, you might as well call it, you don't have that much time to think, and you act on your thinking. So I mean, if I was to have to, if I'd have to take my tank off again for another victim to save them, I would, But I mean, you still have to look out for your own life. But like I said, I've been through a lot, and when I seen that victim, she was in a wheelchair, like a little electric wheelchair, and she had one leg missing. And when we actually lifted her off the bed, me and my partner, and we put her in the wheelchair. And as we're going out, I mean, it's crazy, but it just reminded me of my father. Things like that, it goes through your mind, I mean, what if it was your mom or your dad, And I just feel you do the things you do because you want to do them,
And it was weird, because you get in there and you're thinking everything that you've trained for, it's running through your mind like 100 mile an hour. What do you do? What do you do? What do you do? But everything just starts clicking, and you're going down through the line. And of course, you forget things that you need to know. But you got guys behind you that are backing you up, telling you what you need to do. And I had Smiley, he was a captain at that time. And he grabbed a hold of me. We went through the door, and fire was right there in your face, and it was definitely hot. Next thing you know, it's a couple minutes later, almost the whole entire fire's out. Turn around, you got other guys coming in to relieve you, because, I mean, it seems like an eternity in there, but it was just a matter of minutes. And I was out of air, and we had other guys come in to let us get out, and we get out there, and you're standing down on the street, and they were doing all the finish up work. And just standing there looking at it, and you can see all the guys looking around at you, and you're like, oh, we just did that.
This past Halloween, on my way home from my regular job, approximately around 5:30 in the evening, we got a call for a small child that was hit by a motor vehicle. She was deceased. She passed away. She didn't make it. And the child that small, children are always the worst for me specifically, because I have children that small at home. You can't help but look and think, that could have been my child laying there in the street. One thing that always will stick in my mind, it was said to me by the fire chief, was, go home and hug your children. And, that's what I did. I went home, picked my child out of bed, and sat there and held him.
I would say my role is to keep everybody safe. That's my main objective. I don't want to see anybody get hurt. I want to make sure that everybody stays well trained and keep everybody safe. I don't care what goes on or what happens as long as no one gets hurt.
I have a family, which is, you know, the most important thing to me. And getting home to my children and my wife safe is my main objective after every alarm.
It does consume so much of your life that it is like your second family.
No, I enjoy being a masked man more than anything. The guy on the nozzle going in, knocking down the fire. That's a lot more fun. The chief's positions are a headache.
You put your life on the line every day, and unless you do this job, you just don't understand.
To get away from it, some guys start to get away from it, and then you look back and you're like, I can't quit that.
No, I'm here for the duration, buddy. I mean, the only way I'd probably get out of it if something drastically medical or happened to me, but I'm in for it.
We're a breed of our own. Get into it, and we got to do it. Somebody has to.